Hey, welcome to my channel. Well, in today's segment or episode, we're going to take a look at the SJRC F11 quadcopter. It says quadcopter right on the side, so it's not a drone, it must be a quadcopter. Let me just start off, because I know you're watching this because you might be thinking of buying this drone. Let me start off by saying it's a good buy. It's a good drone. There's very little wrong with it, and there's a lot of good with it. If you like to fly drones, there's a lot of good with this. And what I mean by that is, well, it's portable. As you can see, it's a foldable drone, just like so many other drones on the market today. And when you unfold these arms, it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like you spent $1,000 on your drone. They're really nice the way they unfold. So, you know, they put a lot of quality into that. And just holding it, it actually feels like a much more expensive drone than it is. And even the click of the battery, when you put the battery in and out, it's a nice little insertion. It clicks in. It makes you feel like you paid good money and you got something really good. You got something more for your money than you actually paid. So let me start off by saying, certainly it has brushless motors, which makes it extremely powerful. And these are powerful brushless motors because this drone is very responsive. When you fly it, it's very exact. It's very true. It goes exactly where you want it to go. As a matter of fact, it holds itself in the air so well that there's no stabilization in the camera. But if it's not too crazy windy out, you know, the video is actually pretty good because it stays very stable. And when you're flying along, it doesn't do those abrupt movements all over the place. It's very nice and smooth. So it actually gives you some decent flight patterns. You'd almost think this was a much more expensive drone than it is. So let's go through all the features on this here drone. So getting back to the camera, it is a 1080p camera and it records at 25 frames per second. I think it's 25 frames per second. It's got a huge field of view. Like, I mean, on these drones, I don't know why they put a big field of view, but this one is massive. It's big. So when you're close to something, you can see a lot. It's just really big world type view on this thing. And it will turn 90 degrees down, so you can fly straight up and look straight down, and it will look straight forward as well. On the lower bottom back here, there's a place for a micro SD card, so you can record the video direct from the 1080p camera to the micro SD, so you get a little bit higher quality video than you'd receive on your phone. Now the specs do say that the range on this here quad drone is 600 meters. But it doesn't shoot out the video signal 600 meters, at least I couldn't get it to. So your video signal is probably half that, 300 meters. And in order to keep a solid video signal that's not interrupted by all sorts of issues while it's flying through the air, it's in the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi spectrum. So your phone or tablet must be 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So you might want to check that before you buy this, because if you don't, well, then you'll be flying it without a video signal, which is okay. You can still fly it, but you just won't see what your drone sees. Now this here massive battery is actually a 3-cell battery. It's 11 volts. So that's not bad for something this size. And it has a capacity of 2,500 milliamps. That's why this drone, you're going to be impressed with this because I know I was, and it is true, it's not fake. This thing gets about 25 minutes of flight time. Now, in the wintertime, me flying it, I couldn't get 25 minutes, but I definitely got over 20 minutes. It's almost like you can't kill the battery. It just keeps flying. It's really, really good. And of course, it is a smart battery. You'll see little lights on it. Did I hit the button? There we go. So you can check your battery capacity. Of course, like all modern drones that are pretty good, it is a GPS GLONASS drone. So when you put it on the ground for the very first time and you look for your GPS lock, it may take about a minute or less. But then the second time and third time, it's like instantaneous almost, so there's no worries. You do have to do the little compass dance every time before you fly this thing, you know, like, you know, this sort of thing. Now, one thing I thought would be included in this drone, since it is such a good drone, is positioning sensors. There's 2 right here, but those are just for show. I think in another model they're going to add them, but in this one, these are just 2 pieces of plastic to look like they exist, but they don't exist. So when you fly this indoors, and there's no GPS indoors, well, then it's at the mercy of your ability to fly it. So if wind is bouncing off the walls, up, down, or anything like that, well, then it will move around. I'll show you in this video. I'll fly it indoors right here where I'm sitting. Now, I can't go farther without actually mentioning the controller. The controller is not too bad. I like the controller because it has the ability to move your camera up and down on one side, which is this side over here, and on the another side, it has the ability to actually control your speed. So it's not a button to control the speed. You use this little dial and you push it one direction and you increase the speed, and the drone will actually fly faster, and you pull it another way and the drone will fly slower, even though you're using the joystick, so it's a little bit different. Now I have to mention one thing about this controller is that SJRC makes these controllers for mini drones, and guess what? If you have any other drone by SJRC with this controller, it will work with the F11. I've tried it because I've mixed up my controllers. I have so many that look like this and I've become confused, and I've mixed them up and they all work. You just, as soon as you turn the controller on and the drone and move your little left joystick up and down, it binds and all the controllers work with your F11. Now, this is a box for a previous drone I reviewed, which is called the SJRC Z5. A lot of people would think that the F11 is just basically the same as this, but with brushless motors, and you would be sort of right, but a little bit wrong. Let me just show you. Here's the difference in box size. So that's the F11, and that's the Z5. Now I'm just going to show you a little piece of video here where I compare the Z5 to the F11 for size. So check this out. Now I'm sure somebody's going to ask, is it the same as the Z5? Well, not quite. Here's the Z5. It's right here. Look at the size of it. And here's the F11. It's a considerably larger drone. And if I turn it sideways, look at the difference in height, everything. This is like a professional drone, and this is an entry-level drone. And with that in mind, here's the difference in battery size, so you can't swap them. That's the Z5's battery, and that's the F11 battery. Apparently this flies for about 25 minutes, and I think the Z5 will get you almost 20 minutes. So yeah, light drone, smaller battery. Big battery, heavier drone. So you can see the F11 is actually a much larger drone, and you know, when you look at them side by side, it's a much more quality drone. So, and the difference in price isn't too much, which is very strange. It's a much better drone. If you had to buy either drone, this one's pretty good. Although the Z5 is, from my tests, it's under 250 grams. This is over 250 grams. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a quick unboxing just to show you what's in the box of the F11, and just in case you have the Z5 and you want to see what the difference is. So here's a quick unboxing, and I'll do a quick weighing of this drone at the end. So here we go with that. All right, this is a quick unboxing of the F11, and yes, do not adjust your set. The box is actually this shiny, this silvery, and this reflective. Whoa, inside we've got the controller and we have the drone. First item itself would be the drone, and on the top you can see there's some LED power, a power switch. We have the arms. Let's go to the back, nothing there. Let's go to the bottom. We can see it looks like they had intended to put some positioning systems here, but this drone does not have any positioning system. And then we come forward, we see we have the camera right here, which electronically moves up and down. Of course, we have the brushless motors right here, which is really nice, LED lights on the side, and foldable props, which is becoming a standard. On the top, you have the battery, push two buttons here, and it comes out really nice. Underneath, there's nothing there. You have a little USB charger right here for the battery, micro SD slot so that you record the video right from the camera right to the micro SD card. The controller appears to be exactly the same controller that's with the Z5. You can take these off. That's just protection. Same little thing with the little antennas, control wheels here, same buttons for camera, video. These arms fold out to make it really nice to hold it in the hand. So you just hang on like that, and this flips up, and this flips up, and there you go. You can put your little cell phone in there, and all these LED lights and all these LED lights all mean something to notify you of what's going on while you're flying. Also included in the package would be a box of spare propellers. In here you've got your F11 GPS flight manual right there. Finally, the last thing in the box would just be a USB cable. That's so you can just plug that into any USB outlet and plug that into the battery and charge it up. It's kind of like the Parrot and Naffy battery, it just charges via USB. All right, the battery's in the drone, it's all folded up, and I'm gonna plop it down on the scale, and we're looking at 518 grams. All right, so now we're coming to the part of the video where you're saying, okay, that's all great, Captain Drone, but how does this thing fly? Like, we haven't seen any images of it. Well, maybe you have seen some already. I probably threw some images of it flying already. So let's get to the flying. Let me just say this. How does it fly? Well, it flies amazingly well. I've flown this in really cold temperatures, and I was stunned at how well it flew. I could fly it in locations towards objects, above, below, around objects, and I had a lot of confidence because it really had a nice feedback. It felt like a professional drone in the flight modes. It was doing quite well. Now, I've only taken it out for 3 flights, so I haven't had a lot of flights with it, but in all that flying, it was really good. I was very confident with this drone, and it actually looks pretty cool in the air, and I swear it looks, as I've already mentioned, it looks like a much more expensive drone when it's flying. Now, one thing I really like liked about this drone was the orbit mode. They might even call it the point of interest mode. I'm not really sure. I call everything in orbit mode. That's when you fly your drone over something and then you want it to circle around that object. Well, one thing they did pretty cool with the controller is you have your camera button and your photo button. So basically all you do is you put your drone over whatever you want it to circle and you press these two buttons together. You'll get a little response and then you move it out away, you know, how far out the radius you want it to be. So it circles, and then when you get it to where you want it, you press them again. It's very simple like that, and then it does a really nice orbit and takes a nice video. Now the drone has a follow me mode and an active track mode. So the follow me mode is basically you need your cell phone because it follows your cell phone, and it just uses the GPS in your phone with the controller to know where you are, and it follows you. Now one thing I found on my phone is for some reason every now and then on my phone, since I have an Android phone, that the follow me would cause the drone to go kind of wonky, and then I'd have to stop follow me mode and then start it again, and then it would be okay. So I don't know if it's the app or my phone, but the follow me mode does work. You can get it to work. I don't know. Android, there was some problems with this here software, and I'll get into another problem with that. So when it's working in follow me mode, you can walk away and the drone will follow you at a set distance or a set height as you wish. And if you walk towards it, the drone will actually go backwards, and it's not too bad. So you can have a nice little follow me type situation happening with you and your drone, but you got to have a good phone.
So here we have it following me. It's hard to get it smooth because if I stop, it stops. And if I go sideways, yeah, it follows me sideways here, so I could walk along, run along. I'm going to trip over something, aren't I? But if I go towards it, will it go backwards? It should. Most of these do. It's going to take a while. There we go. Now it's starting to go. So it will go backwards too.
So the next thing it has besides follow me is active track. And active track's got a little picture of a man walking with a little shutter thing around it, and it tells you that you have to stand a certain distance away. So I just slid that over. If the drone was working right now, I'd be in active track, and basically then I would draw a square around myself and I would start walking, and the drone would be flying in the air and it would turn to face me. Now, on these drones, active track is not like you would expect on a DJI drone. All it does is it sits in the air. It's more like cameraman, and wherever you move, it just follows you.
Draw a box around me. So it got me? Okay, it's got me in a box. So now, no matter where I move, it should track me. There we go. So as I turn, it turns. There we go. See, I don't know if you can see, I'll just keep walking, see if you see me in the green box. It's filming me. It just follows you around. I'm too close to it. I should be farther away.
So when you have it in that mode, it's best to be doing an activity or an event and running around the drone or running in one place, and it would just follow you back and forth, that sort of thing. So that would be active track on the drone. It's not too bad. It works really well. It did well for me. You know, I'm standing in snow, so it was easy to pick me out. I'm sure if I was wearing a green shirt on green grass, it might not pick me out as well. Another feature it has is waypoints, but I have an Android phone and I thought it was just me. So every time I would click on the waypoints button up here, see, it works right. It works in here. So I get the map and I would be able to put my waypoints in. I don't know if you can see that. There's a map that just popped up over here. Well, that map, when I'm out in the field, that map doesn't work. What I get instead is when I hit waypoints to put the waypoints in and I'm connected to the drone, my Android app gets overwhelmed and it crashes.
Let's see if waypoint mode works. Oh, it crashes. So for some reason, that's happened to me twice. Every time I go into waypoint mode on an Android phone, it doesn't work.
So I went online checking with other people, and people who have the Android app, because you're using an Android phone, it tends to crash. I don't know if it happens as well for people with iPhones and iOS, but yeah, on Android it crashes. So I never got to try out the waypoints feature of this here drone. All right, so on your app, there's another little thing here called gesture mode. And when you click on that, it tells you right here, it says, under the adequate light circumstances, camera follows the light direction within 3 meters. So hold your hand like this to take a video, and do this if you want to take a photo. So, and it says slide to start, and that puts it in gesture mode. It's hit and miss. It depends how still the drone is in the air, how close you're standing. It wants to frame you just correctly so it can actually tell that you're raising a hand or fingers, and then it works. So I got it to work sometimes, other times not so much. But when it does work, it works. But I never understood why anybody would want to stand there and go, or like this, vice just pressing the buttons to start the video or take a photo. I don't know. But anyways, you do have that option.
Better be watching me. 2 fingers up. Can you see me? I got a white background. It should work. Come on, I should say... Nope. Come on, gesture mode. There's adequate light here. How far does it want me away? Now it's going up and down. It says it's trying to scan me. It's trying to find me. So let me get far back here, even farther away. Gesture mode. No, it works indoors. I've tried it indoors and it works.
Now, another cool feature on this drone, it is a GPS drone with GLONASS and GPS, is that you could turn that off if you want. Now, why would you turn that off? Well, if you're going to fly it indoors, you got to turn it off, because if you leave it on, your drone is going to be looking for GPS, and if it starts to acquire it, it's going to go flying into a wall. So turn it off when you're flying inside. And if you're outside and you turn it off, like just hit this button, this is the on-off GPS button. If you turn it off outside, you will actually get more speed and more cornering out of the drone than if you fly with GPS. So a lot of times when you see me doing these demos and you see my drone just whipping around the sky, a lot of times I turn the GPS off because I like to fly really fast and I like to drone the corner really fast. So it's a neat feature to have this ability to turn it on or off. Now also, since it is a GPS drone, well, it has return to home. It has, if you're flying and you lose signal, it returns to home. If you're flying and the battery's low, it returns to home. So, and there's even a button on here to return to home, which I can't see where it's, oh, there it is right there, right here. Return to home, you press that and it comes back. It works quite well. The drone rises up to a certain height and then it flies all the way back to you, and it actually finds the location that it took off quite well. It will land within, you know, within 6 inches to a foot of where it took off. So it's quite accurate. It's pretty decent in that respect. And the next item I want to point out about this really cool drone is the actual camera. So the camera is 1080p. And it does have the ability to look forward or move down. As you're flying, you can move the camera up and down, and it's a nice smooth motion. It does, however, on the controller make that annoying beep sound. So if you go up and down, it goes beep, 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 beep. Let me show you how good this camera is. Some people would say the camera is, you know, above average or average. I'm not really sure. I flew it around, and you're watching video segments right now of me flying it around and what the camera sees. And in some areas, I thought it looked really decent. And in other areas, I thought, that's just average. So I can't really tell you if this camera is like the most amazing camera ever, because to me, it's not the most amazing. I would say it's good. It's probably no worse than the camera on the Z5 right here. I think they're kind of similar. In the instructions, it does say that this camera has the ability to go up to a higher resolution. I believe I read that, but I could not figure out how to get it to go to a higher resolution. I mean, like it records at 1080p, but I mean, just a little bit larger image than you're actually getting. It's kind of hard to explain here. Let me just show you what it says in the actual manual. I don't know if that's in focus. Well, it says video recording modes right there. I don't know if you can see what it says, but let me just read it. So it says, this camera has video recording modes of FHD, which to me stands for full HD, at 1920 by 1080p. That's your normal HD. You know, that's what we all record at. And then it says it also has the ability to record at 2K, 2592 times 1520p. And it says this is depending on conditions and mobile device. So my mobile device is my phone. Is that just saying that it's recording on my phone? So that's why I said I thought it had a higher recording mode for video, but I could only get it at 1080p, so maybe I'm just misinterpreting something. Hey, if you get this drone and you figure it out, or you have this drone, put a comment below and tell me, because I'm lost with these instructions. All right, I'm over here. I've got the F11 down there. I've got the GPS turned off. I think I have it turned off. We're soon going to find out. It's right here. It's close to the wall. I'm just going to send it up, and I'm just going to show you can fly it indoors. This drone, I do find, oop, get my head in here. This drone, I do find that indoor flight, I'm only going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's not really designed for indoor flight because when you move side to side, you need a lot of space, and it takes a little bit more space. You'll see I might even get it going like this, and you have to then react and control it the other way with your joysticks. So you need a large space. This is very small where I'm going to fly it, so we'll see what happens. Here, I'm just watching. Can you see it? And then if I start it up, there we go. We're going to take off. Here we go. So I'll take it up and I'll just bring it back this way. I'll try not to hit any lights or anything. There we go. So there's the video. There's the quality of the video looking indoors. I'll move it to the side, And how does that look? Not too bad? So you see what I mean? It moves around a little bit. So you got to control it up, control it with the joysticks here. Just got to keep little touches to keep it flying. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'll land it. I'll just hit the land button and take it down. All right, to sum up this video, let me just say that this drone is one of the best flying drones I've flown in a long time. for a price that is just over $100. Now, you can get this drone with 1 battery, 2 batteries, 3 batteries, and of course it increases the price. Since it flies for 25 minutes, I would say if you bought this drone with just 1 battery, you would probably be sufficiently happy. Motors, I love them. The flight time, above average, outstanding. 25 minutes, you know, you are going into professional mode with that sort of flight time for a drone like this, so that's really good. Only thing missing, optical flow sensors on the bottom. My Android phone and the Android operating system to fly this. Maybe you people with iOS are going to have more luck than I had. Obviously, it's software, so in other words, as they fix the software, then the drone gets better. So they just have to put out a newer version of their software for flying this thing, and everything will be fixed, and then I can use the waypoints, because right now I can't use them. But all in all, I really like this drone. I think it's pretty decent for the price. You know, you would expect to pay a lot more, at least I would. So check it out and see if this is the drone for you. All right, thanks for watching this video, and from Mr. F11 and myself, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this review, and we'll catch you in the next video.